That's my baby daddy. You know, you better get out my face. Don't say that.
Okay,
around me,
well, we won't
it's
say
respect.
baby. We'll say child. And we won't say mama. We'll say mother.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
The same words, Foot.
Yeah. Well, no, it ain't the same word. No, it ain't the same words because.
But nowadays you say
baby. But nowadays you say baby mama. That's like you seeing somebody. You looking at a mama coming to the store with that cooking bag or whatever it is. What you call it? What they call it?
It's on you.
Why is it on me? It was on you the first. It was on me the first time. It's on you right now.
Hey, y'all, welcome.
There you go.
Big
Yes,
Gene,
sir. Yes, sir.
Big
Come on,
Gene and Foot, Mash, and my other many AKAs. Thank y'all for joining us again. The one and only DJ Foot right here. Yes,
sir. Hey.
Thank God he is the one and only.
All right. Okay. So when the floor, what we talking about, bro?
It's on you.
What we talking about today?
I don't know. What's in the entertainment world? Whatever you want to talk about, Dan.
Let's talk about. Let's hit.
You hit last time. You know what I mean?
Let's hit our favorite. Let's hit
NBA,
our favorite topic.
NFL.
Yeah. Let's talk about
anything.
It. Let's talk about it.
Whatever you talk about.
Let's talk about it.
I don't know what to talk about.
Let's talk about the announcers first. I mean, the journalists first. Let's talk about the people first. What about your boy Stephen A? What's going on with him, man? I mean, Stephen A and LeBron. Let's talk about that.
Lord. Come on, man.
Let's talk about
you gonna pull me into this?
He done pick fights with everybody, but I think he done kind of like I think he done kind of like poke the bear this one. Yeah. What's your take? Tell what your take is on it.
So you gonna pull me into this Stephen A. LeBron conversation?
Yeah, let's go,
man. All right. I know that's man, I've been in like a few Facebook conversations on this. All right, so look. Stephen A does what he does. You know what I mean? That's his career. He's getting paid a lot of money to kind of
a truckload.
He's getting a lot of money to be an antagonist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Yeah,
to do things and to be over the top. Yeah. So that's his job. That's what he does.
Okay.
When it comes to LeBron and that whole situation, my standpoint on that is I might have said something to him too. Because it's one thing to critique me or critique my son for what he does. It's another thing to bring me in as a father and question me as a father.
Right.
Now, you can take your political ploys or your fun on TV and you can take that and you can do whatever. You know what I mean? So I don't think LeBron was really moved by him critiquing. He's been critiqued his whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He been called soft.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I remember back when he was young in the league and they were talking about he won't clutch, he passing the ball. Remember when Boston knocked him out?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, he went through that. You know what I mean? He's been called all kinds of stuff. He's been under immense pressure.
Yeah.
In scrutiny.
Yeah.
His entire career. So Stephen A been commentating almost his whole career. Okay. So it's not something that he's foreign to. So people talk about LeBron every day. It's Facebook posts. People, you know what I mean? He ain't as good as KD. He ain't as good as Steph. He ain't as good as this. He making super teams. He's been critiqued his whole life.
Wow.
So to think that he's trying to make a play and say that he's doing that because he don't want his son to be critiqued. His son been critiqued. The only time you've seen him respond, because Stephen A. wasn't the first one to say something about Bronny.
Right.
People were saying that about Bronny when he came in the league. It's just because of his daddy. This and that. LeBron ain't say nothing about that.
Well, he wasn't the first one, yeah.
He wasn't the first one.
Because I think what made it known, I think when Jaylen Brown said something, I mean, kind of like, and at the All-Star game, you saw how he straight played Jaylen at the All-Star game, you know.
But
it was true. It's a true statement, but some people just got to be man enough to say it.
Here's the thing, though. In my opinion, Stephen A. crossed the line.
Yes, he did.
Because he tried to make it into... So, first of all, you come on and think, Pops, come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to stop this.
Yeah.
you gotta stop this. He's, first of all, you're talking about that man's son.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about him as a father, like he's supposed to do some kind of mercy killing of his son's career. And he's supposed to tell his son, oh man, the NBA ain't for you. Look, just come sit down and be my son and you're going to still be rich. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you're talking about like he's putting his son through something. No, he's supporting his son's dream.
Right.
And then you're talking about as a father, Pops, you got to stop this. Hold up, man. What you mean as a father? Don't critique me as a father.
Right. Exactly.
If you think I can't shoot the three, talk about that.
Right.
If you think I'm a ball hog, talk about that.
Yeah.
If you think my son can't shoot and he can't jump and he can't play, then just talk about that. Yeah. But don't come to me and talk to me as a father like I'm like they need to call CPS because I'm not gonna put my son out, try to get my son out of the league. Right. Come on, man. Like for me, that was over the top.
Yeah.
So Stephen A, when he went at that man as a father, guess what? He responded as one.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If that's how you come, then that's what you're gonna get.
And he found the right appropriate setting to do it at.
So he did it, and so on site, LeBron like, okay,
yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're gonna approach me. Well, I'm gonna approach you like a father.
Right. Exactly.
So let me tell you what I think as a father. Back up off my son.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not gonna rain on my son's career.
Right.
I'm not gonna rain on his parade. That is his dream, and I'm gonna support his dream. And let alone, you gotta think about it. He's a father, he's a parent. Mm-hmm. So he believes in his son.
Right, of course.
That ain't he just putting on airs.
Right.
He just like any parent. Shoot, man, some of the people talking about it, and I've been a coach for years. Right. Little league and up.
Right.
And you got these folks out right there that want little Jimmy that don't know the difference between shooting the ball and passing it.
Right.
And they want him to play. And he good if they give him a chance. Nah, he sucks. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to come at you as a parent. Because as a parent, you're supposed to believe in your child. You're supposed to support their dream. I wouldn't expect anything else. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to come at you and say, hey, Foot, Pops, as a father, man, stop it with Justin. Don't, look, he ain't cutting it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Pops, you got to put an end to this.
Right.
When you know what your son can do and you believe in your son, you gonna be just like LeBron.
Yeah.
You gonna be like, hold on, man.
You know I am.
You done seen what he can do. He's a starter.
Right.
He can hold his own. So, man, I believe you. I mean, Stephen A got in response. You approached that man as a father. He responded as one. So, I mean,
but then he took it a step further. He told my son, if he would approach me, I would have swung on him. I was like, what? Stephen A. I think those Stephen
A. Doing the boxing was hilarious.
I would have swung on him. Yeah, I would have swung on him. But for real,
that's pride, man.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think
and ratings. That's clickbait.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he's doing the same thing as Skip Bayless was doing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He's pretty much doing the same thing Skip Bayless, because Skip Bayless was doing that with Russell Westbrook. He was doing it with Kevin Durant. And he was called LeBron James, LeBrick James.
Yeah.
I was like, man, come on, man. It's called Russell Westbrook. But
like, that's how they get fame.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how they get recognized.
Right.
So it's about the shock of it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
As they would say, like shock jocks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you're going to come out against the most popular guy. You're going to say kind of outlandish stuff. Yeah. It's shocking to the public. You know what I mean? And that's what Stephen A was doing. But now Stephen A in his feelings because he got checked on.
Yeah. And people are checking on him.
Yeah.
Draymond had the word. I mean, even Draymond has to say something like, it's not like he is the most credible person, but he's when he. Of course,
you're right. Draymond is not the most.
He's not the most credible. KD, all of them, everybody. The community stepped
Draymond, in. He do what he do.
Community stepped in, but he does that to people. I mean, and then that's the scrutiny that athletes have to go through. That's the scrutiny that we have to go through. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you don't know how many times I had to go through that with my oldest son, with Sean. I mean, Sean is a DJ. Sean followed the blueprint. I mean, and
Sean Breezy.
Yeah, Sean Breezy, shout out to him. He done took the blueprint and ran with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's doing a magnificent job.
He's
you know,
much better than you.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, hey, see, why you laughing, man? Anyway,
the children should be better.
Yes, they
That's
are,
what
and
we want. That's what we want.
He's better than I
Much
ever
better.
was, and he's more creative
He's
than
sharp,
I was.
creative.
Yeah. He's. I mean, you know, he's got all the intangibles.
Took his looks at his mama.
Yeah. Huh?
Okay.
And he got all the intangibles, and that's cool. That's good. I'll take that. But
I just figured, man. I just figured.
But you know, and I've heard people say, man, Sean is this, Sean is that. And it makes me feel so good, man, to hear that. And, you know, then you got some people, man, Sean play for the Ratchets and he do this and he do. Sean is a versatile person. I mean, I speak highly of him. I mean, I speak highly of all my boys. I speak highly of all my girls. So, I mean, you know, I'm just proud of mine. I mean, you know, and I wouldn't have it no other way. So, but with Stephen A. Smith, not to get off the subject, but with Stephen A., you know, he was just wrong on many different levels, man. You don't bring your son into no situation like that. That's ground to get beat up for real. I mean, he would have swung on him, but man, can you just
it would have been bad, but hey,
that would have been a mismatch. Yeah. I mean, I don't care how you slice
Chihuahua and a pit bull.
Yeah, exactly.
The outcome ain't good.
Yes, sir.
But man, yeah, man, I get it. I get it. It's about, on the journalist side, it's about rating. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's about. People are going to tune. You know what I mean, Bronny does have a tough hill to climb,
right?
Just because of who his daddy is.
It's a curb.
His dad is one of the most famous people alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he is arguably the greatest. One of the, I mean, in some people's lives, the greatest of all time. Yeah. And he is a recognizable figure worldwide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's always going to be judged. But he's in the same field as his daddy, so he's going to be judged based off of that.
Right.
So he's going to be the subject. People, you know, I see a lot of the talk where people are like, well, why are we talking about him on SportsCenter? He was the such and such number draft pick. He was this, he was that. You're talking about him because he's LeBron James' son. Right. Mm-hmm. And people are rather hear about him before they hear about the pick that was before him.
Right.
Or picked in the round before him.
Right.
Or picked first.
Mm-hmm.
People just would rather see what's going on with LeBron James' son versus anyone else. Yeah. And that's because of his daddy's fame. So he's always going to be under that scrutiny. I think LeBron probably is prepared and well for that. You know what I mean? Because one thing about it, I do give LeBron James credit for, you know, his nose clean for the most part. You know what I mean? And if you ain't found nothing on him this long, then you probably ain't going to find nothing. Because you can better believe it. They've been digging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would be the story of the year.
The dirt is up there. The dirt is in the air, though. I mean, the dirt is in the air. It's in a pile. It's in a big pile over there.
But that's
his name came up a couple of times, you know?
But you is nothing on it.
Exactly.
It ain't nothing.
Clean as a whistle.
Nothing stuck. You know what I mean? So
it did stick on Jay-Z. It ain't going to stick on him, right?
Hey, you know, whatever it is, you know, but that, to live a life like that, man, you know, I look at it, to be scrutinized like that.
Right.
Man, that's a tough life.
Yes.
I mean, and then, you know, you have the duality of that because you even have preachers that's in the same spotlight.
Right.
And they're scrutinized. You know what I mean? Off of every little thing.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a thing the other day with T.D. Jakes, and he was on like Good Morning America or something like that. And he was talking about when he said he had a massive heart attack. When, you know, he had the episode on when he was preaching. Yeah. And he said it was a massive heart attack. He had a blood clot that went to his heart. He, you know, of course, they didn't know the end, but that's what happened. He had to go into surgery. They had to get it, all that other stuff. But then the guy started asking him about all of this stuff in the public. You know what I mean? And how he's filed lawsuits and stuff now on different people. At first, he won't say nothing. But he was talking about how man, people make these accusations, and even the network that he was on, I don't know, ABC, NBC, he was on one of them. But how they did research and they found that a lot of the stuff that people putting on the internet was AI.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't him. And then people are trying, but he said, but even once the network put it out, he said TMZ even went out and put it out saying that it wasn't true and it was AI and things like that. Mm-hmm. He said, but nobody wants to believe the truth. And he said, you know, we're in a time now where people can capitalize, on people. Like basically, you know, you're preying on people.
Right.
You know, it's clickbait for, you know what I mean? Because you pick up followers, views. You can say anything now. And then all of a sudden, everything about you is in question. Your whole life's work, everything that you've ever been. And now people have labeled you and put you in this, even the guy, he addressed that, the guy that was accusing him of sexual assault. And he's like, man, I haven't seen this person in however long, and how they didn't had to turn around and file suit and different things like that. And he was like, he said, it's sad that we're in a time now where people can just say and do anything.
Yeah.
And now you're left to try to fight for your, you know what I mean?
Like I said, it's clickbait.
It is. Yeah. But man, stuff spread quick. I mean, lies spread fast, but the truth is slow.
Right. Yeah. But people do what they do, though, and everybody is doing their own thing, and everybody, all types of media information, they gonna come through with it. I mean, sometimes we have to address in radio, we have to address media information. But like I said, some things you talk about, some things you just, no, man, I'm not talking about that. Y'all can talk about it. You go ahead. It's like I said, certain people, you can't pay me to talk about them because that ain't in
the organization. They in the organization?
No, ain't no organizations, man. Come on, man, knock it off. It's just some things that you just don't talk about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no. I mean, it's like people, especially now, if somebody says something bad about you as a person,
and they have,
but
they have.
Okay, and
I don't care.
Who had you? Okay.
You got my back.
If you hold up. Now let's talk about it. Now, if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. If somebody says something bad about my homie, who will be the first person to speak on it?
You
will be the first person to shut him down.
You will.
Who will be the first person to get mad with you?
Pause.
Because you knew that, hey, man, I don't appreciate it. That's because that's the brotherhood that we have. I mean, if brothers blood can make us no closer.
Man,
so you know what I'm saying?
Man, for sure. And I got your back.
Yeah,
as always, man. But but that's the reality that we're in.
Right.
I coach a lot of young men. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I got a bunch of young men that are, in college that I've coached. Yeah. So guys as pro that I've coached.
Look up to you too. Yeah. And my nephews, coach. Yeah. I mean, my nephews and my son, and
there's a lot of young guys out here that I've coached and helped along the way, and I'm very big on teaching them about the potential pitfalls. Right. And maybe some of the athletes we'll be bringing in. We'll talk about this, man. But it's a young man I know, man, that came to some of my camps, man, and he was in college playing Division I football, and he was accused of rape, his first year at college.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, he didn't do it. You know what I mean? You talking about a young man that was accepted in the Ivy League schools, just a great rounded kid, man, and he was accused of rape. You know what I mean? And then the only he had some teammates that were put off the team. And he wasn't put off the team because they were looking into it because it was kind of so far out of his character. And when they finally looked it up, man, and I think one of the girls came back and told the truth and was like, look, we made it up. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do that. You know what I mean? So, but man, even this young man, it was all in the news. You know what I mean? ABC, all this different stuff. And even to this day, if you Google his name, it comes up accused of sexual assault. And man, that kind of stuff can follow you. So you got a good kid, a vulnerable kid, doing what he loves, doing his dream. And then now, man, he has something that follows him. And you always gonna have the naysayers. You're gonna always have people say, "Oh, he just got away with it." You know, "Oh yeah, the school put it away." You know what I mean? And that man he's forced to defend that for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? If his kids one day, if they get on the internet Googling, then he's going to have to talk about being accused of sexual assault. You know what I'm saying? I had another kid, man, same thing. He went to school. Some boosters didn't want him there because of some stuff, with his father, not even him. And man, had a situation, these girls approaching him, and I try to warn him about that type of stuff. But anyway, ended up having a little encounter with a young lady. The young lady comes back, files a charge, says that he sexually assaulted her. What was crazy, he tried to, he thought nothing of it. He was trying to reach out to the girl the next day. Next thing you know, she done disappeared. She ain't on campus or nothing. And they basically end up giving him an ultimatum because it was some boosters that really didn't want him there. Said, if you leave, then all this goes away. Wow. So here he is playing Power 5, Power 4 football, big time program, living his dream. And they basically railroaded him and said, hey, look.
Go home.
On the side, basically. If you leave, all this go away. And people don't think stuff like that really happens, but it does. I mean, it's real. But he had to he had to do what he had to do. You know what I mean? And he's still pursuing his dream. But the snakes are real out here. Wow. The snakes are real. Like you have opportunists. You have, Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, I like Jameis. The war horse will not be forgotten. Let it snow. Jameis, my dude. First of all, I'm a diehard Florida State fan.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I mean, that's me. Florida State, Florida State, Florida State. FLORIDASTATE. Florida State, Florida State, Florida State. You know what I'm saying? That's a chant if you go to the game. You know what I mean? Diehard Florida State fan, man. Been since I was a little kid.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But Jameis went through that his last year at Florida State.
The crab legs.
Not the crab legs, the girl that accused him of sexual assault.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
And, I believe he got off because, he had some friends that doing some secret recording.
Oh, man.
In the background. Well, but his life could have easily
been over with. Right?
Been over.
Some people,
So, man, in your line of work, people coming at you and trying to get close to you, Danny, over the years, you know what I mean? And then, traveling and touring and all that stuff, man. Like, are you aware of, are you aware of the opportunists? You got, I was approached about the conversation today about Anthony Edwards and what's going on with him and, his slew of baby mamas, I guess. I mean, Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Lucky for me, I can say
wherever he lay his hat was his home.
Lucky for me, I can say I knew who my kids were, who my kids' mothers were, and to this day we got respect amongst each other. We respect back and forth. I mean, all of my kids are, with the exception of Justin, all of my kids are grown. I mean, I've been blessed. I mean, not to have to be in front of, I've been to court a few times, but it wasn't like it was out of malice or being reckless or none of that stuff. I mean, because I never went to jail for none of that. You know what I mean? Of course, there was some conflicts once I got married. I mean, it was a conflicts at first.
Hold on.
I went through that. I had to go through that.
No, hold on. I'm looking at this custom hat here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Come on, my guy.
Yeah. No. You see it. You like that? Shout out to Kurt. Yes. Appreciate you, Kurt. Where you at? I see you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kurt. Yes. You like that? You like that? Okay.
It's all right.
You a hater.
Slightly right now. I like that.
You're a hater. Okay. It is what it is, man.
I need
Thank
one.
you. I got you. Shout out to Kurt, man. Appreciate you, Kurt. Yes, sir. I told you it would work. Yes, sir. If we had sweepers on it, we'll be all right, but I'll take the veterans. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
One of those two. Yes, sir.
I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need one.
I got you, B. I got you.
I need one.
Got you.
All right, but look, right? I was asked today about that situation, right? You know, people want to know my thought on that. Like, you know, and I don't know if Anthony Edwards actually did that or not. So I'm gonna put that out there because that's just speculation. Nobody knows if he gave the chick $1 million and said, you know, kick rocks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody knows if he actually did that. You know, but there is a question that comes in that. If you were in that position, is that something you would do? You know what I mean? Somebody asked me how did I feel about it?
I would give it to her. I would give it to her. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because number one, that's my child. I ain't gonna tell him to kick rocks because my kids gonna always be my kids. I'm not gonna say no.
So you would never do nothing like sign over your parental rights or nothing like that?
Definitely not. Yep.
So you know, my take, like I said, man, I could never walk away from my kids.
No.
Now, you know, I've seen some of the alleged text messages and things like that. I know for me, I couldn't walk away from a child that's supposed to be mine. You know what I mean?
No, but you had the times where, you know, it's a conflict. I mean, you know, like attitude you have to deal with, depending on what day of the week it is, or, you know, what's going on, or, you know, because you're mad at this person, you take it out on that person, you know, because you're mad at me, you take it out on my child. And, you know, it's done happened. That's done happened.
You talking about baby mama drama?
Yeah, well, I don't like calling them baby mamas. I call them, I mean, you know, because I don't like for nobody to call me, you know, baby daddy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, that's my baby daddy, you know. You better get out of my face. Don't say that.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
you know,
we won't say respect. Baby. We'll say child.
Yeah.
And we won't say mama. We'll say mother.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
It's the same words, Foot.
Yeah. Well, no, it ain't the same word. No, it ain't the same words because
Dang, baby and child kind of go together, don't it?
No, but no.
Yeah, but
but
nowadays you say
mother.
baby. But nowadays you say baby mama. That's like you seeing somebody. You looking at a mama coming to the store with a cooking bag or whatever it is. What you call it? What they call it? Like the activator used to be the activator bags or whatever you call it.
Tell your age, what? Tell your age. You said activator bag.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, you know,
a bonnet.
Bonnet. That's what it is. A bonnet. Yeah, I call it. But yeah,
chapstick. Shout out to Michael Vick.
Yeah. But they with the bonnet and the and the pajamas and the bedroom slippers and all that type of stuff, man. Hey, that ain't.
So you saying that you were dealing with a high quality of child mother?
Oh, my kids' mama were
high quality.
Yeah, you know, I'm not.
You hear that? He said all his children mother is high quality.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So shout out to y'all.
Yes.
So
never ratchet, never ratchet one. No, never ratchet one.
All right. Well,
even the hateful ones won't ratchet.
So you just said hateful.
Even the hateful ones won't ratchet. I know. I ain't calling them what. I might resurface. I might scratch up, bring up some old dirt, bring up some old wounds. All my kids are grown, so I mean, with the exception of Justin, hey man, all my kids are over 18. So yes. Yeah. I'm good.
You know what I mean?
No more child support.
It's all good. And, you know, Justin mom, she, one of the vice presidents of the Illuminati.
You got to take that up with her because they say you got your card. You got your card with Belichick.
That's what she say. We already know your ex-wife is in the Illuminati. Shout out to Brandy and Bill Belichick.
They say,
you know what I'm saying?
So you and
Robert Kraft and the crew.
Epstein and all them boys, all y'all boys over there in Fenway Park, man.
Trying to
Fenway
defend
Park,
Brandy. You gonna defend your ex-wife and baby mom. You already know.
They say y'all had VIP seats at Fenway Park.
Her and
at Gillette Stadium. Yeah.
It's all good.
And the Boston Garden and TD Garden now.
I ain't messing with Brandy. Shout out to the Illuminati. It's all good. You know what I mean? I ain't talking at you. I'm talking with you. It's all good. But I know for me, man, I could never walk away from a kid that was mine. I do believe, man, that the brother is in the spotlight, and I mean, he's a heck of a basketball player. But like I said, even though you're a heck of a ball player, it doesn't put you beyond reproach. I think it's questionable some of the decisions he's making in his intimate life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because he is definitely old dirty bastard it up here. he like it raw for real.
Wow.
He out here. He ain't got no kind of glove or love. But
ain't that somebody else's baby mama too though?
Yeah.
Child's mother. Yeah.
All of his child's mothers used to be with rappers or something like that.
Okay.
But man, that is. I think, man, we got an obligation as men to set a standard. You know what I mean? And no knock on him, man. Like I said, when you know better, you do better. You know what I mean? And some people may say that ain't the better way, but I know that, man, having kids that their father won't be present, that there is damage from that. We can't deny that.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's gonna be damage. You know what I mean? There's gonna be things missing. One of the big things I say with kids, and this is I live on that, man. I believe it. Kids spell love Time.
Yeah, and that's one I did have somewhat of a problem with that sometimes, because it's like I said, they'll take their frustrations out and try to make it all about, like you missed a wrong, you done did everything wrong because you show love for one child and then the other child, you feel like you slighting this one or you slighting that. No, it was never that way. But it got to the point where, because you couldn't have this situation the way you wanted it to be, you made it hard for me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so yeah, I had to overcome that obstacle too. But then it got to the point where when my kids would see, I see my dad is trying to do right, but they giving him a hard time to do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when I got married, some of my kids' mothers didn't even want.
Don't get punched in the face.
No, they didn't want my kid at the wedding. They didn't want my kid at the wedding.
Well, it
rightfully
happens.
so. Rightfully so. I mean, I'm not mad to this day. I'm not. It was wrong, but I'm still not mad to this day.
Heartbreaker.
Yeah. And how many times I have to go to court behind that when I got married, man? I mean, but it was what it was. I mean, but it came with the territory. So, and like I said, I had a strong support system. My mom was still there, and I'm like my sisters and my brothers and my family, and then my so yeah. I had to deal with it. I had to deal with that.
That's real, but
it's drama. Yeah, it was drama.
But that's a big thing. I think that's collateral damage, man. Not it ain't even collateral damage. That's direct impact. You're talking about kids do spell love Time.
They do.
You know what I mean, and kids. If you really want to know how stuff work with kids, and sometimes as parents we can get off. So we'll get off and we'll be like, hey, look, I do this and I do that. I work hard. I provide. I put this in there. Well, that goes into the supposed to category.
Right.
Even though we know that it ain't something that you got to do. You know what I mean? But for kids don't remember see, what you show up to as a parent, kids expect that.
Right.
Kids don't remember what you show up to. They remember what you miss. Because what you miss, that is what they remember. How many people do you know that are grown and they were like, that dude ain't never come to none of my games? Oh, they ain't come to daddy, daughter, or they ain't show up to this. See, kids remember what you miss.
Right.
Kids remember what you miss. Even though because the expectation is that as a parent, this is the expectation. That you're gonna be there.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's some of the times where I missed some of the things due to my work schedule or due to other things. But see, in certain situations, take yourself for instance, you find time, even though you're busy as you are, you find time to make time for certain situations. It was one time that I can honestly say that I failed as a father because I missed the graduation. I missed the graduation, man. And here I am at 59 years old, and still it hurts me to this day to say that I missed it. And I'll never be able to get over that, but we work through it. And like I said, we are tight as ever. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be that way. But it hurt me to my soul to this day. It still hurts.
But you learn from it.
But why? Why? Because they made it so hard for me to be able, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not playing the blame game with nobody, but when it got to that point where it was so disrespectful that you didn't even want to be around certain people. And, my mom told me straight up, she said, baby, some things you just got to be able to, you got to handle it. You got to make it work. You got to make it do what it do. But she knew where I was coming from. And she didn't blame me for that, but she just told me straight up, sometimes you just got to stay out the way, and that's what I did. I stayed out the way, but it hurt me
you about
to this day.
Catch a case.
Huh?
You weren't about to catch no charge out there, were you?
No.
Yeah, that's why you had to stay away. It's cool though. I understand though.
No, but you don't know some of the things I had to go through. I had to go through some of the things.
Street sweep.
No, some of the things I had to go through.
Need that coming out.
What? Some things I had to go through with, like I said, with the drama. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes they were all in the way, and sometimes these people wanted to be this and wanted to be that, wanted me to be in this position when they wanted me to be in this position. If I'm already over here doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you want me to stop what I'm doing to come over here and do? Man, no, we don't do that.
Yeah, you stop what you're doing and get your butt over there.
Sometimes when you try to get over there and they don't want you over there, they tell you no, or they'll try to make a harsh way for you not to be there.
I'm gonna send you my bill.
Yeah. What?
Man.
Okay. I'm sending it back to you. I'm gonna return the sender.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? When it comes to children, that is a big thing.
Yes,
you can have conflict with the parent, but then when it comes to the kids, you do have to be mindful that, man, that the relationship with the kid is the kid, and no matter what, they have an expectation of you. And if dad can go to every game, but when you missed the game when they made the shot,
right,
you weren't there.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how you look at it,
exactly,
you weren't there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When they had this and that and other. So sometimes, man, I see these young brothers, man, and they out here getting a lot of kids and they doing a lot of stuff, man. They living their best life, I guess, as they call it. But what is it doing to the life that you're creating? Mm-hmm. What is it doing to that life? You know what I mean? Because life you not the end all be all. You know what I mean? That kid you create is going to be somebody's husband or wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to be somebody's friend. They're going to be somebody's, you know what I'm saying? They're going to be something to somebody else, man. And how you interact with them is going to directly affect how they live out their life.
Right.
And that, so when I see things like that with brother, the young brother Edwards, like I said, man, it's not even about being judging or nothing like that. But at the end of the day, if I'm just looking at from the perspective of the children, just like all these rappers out here, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Forget that dude. You know what I'm saying? So they say it in so many other different words. He won't ever there. He won't this, that, and the other. So just because you want to avoid it don't mean that you're going to be able to avoid it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And at some point, the chickens come home to roost. You know what I mean? Hey, it's going to get real.
Right, Malcolm X.
Hey, I mean, it's going to... man, we talked about it on another show, but seed time and harvest is real.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, you get older and you need a kidney, and that kid like, I don't know that dude, and he'll match. Don't say nothing. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He ignored me. I'm ignoring him.
Wow.
True.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
It can save his life. Then they're like, oh, well, yeah, that's cool. Hopefully he find a donor. You know. But that's real.
It's crazy.
That's real though.
That's
you know what I'm
crazy,
saying?
yeah.
That's real life. You know what I mean? But that I don't think people really like to talk about that. You know what I mean? I think it's been glamorized. Oh man, you hitting all these IG models. You know what I mean? You getting all these kids. It's almost funny to people now.
Right.
But you got to raise these kids, man. Guess what? These kids going to be in society. All that dysfunction they get, we going to have to deal with. So sometimes I don't mind speaking on it because I'm going to have to deal with the dysfunction that you put in the world.
Right.
I'm going to have to deal with the chaos that creates. You know what I'm saying? It's going to register at some place, shape, form, or fashion, or somebody's going to have to deal with it even if I don't have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, that's some manhood stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? For me, that's some manhood stuff. Manhood, men take care of their family.
Right.
And some people may not like it. You know, I'm not too overly influenced by people's opinion. You know, I'm not controlled by the purse strings of the conservative or liberal media. You know what I'm saying? But
I ain't heard that in a long time. Say it again, man.
I'm not controlled by the purse strings of the liberal or conservative media.
That's when he used to work at Fox News, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? I'm not one of those pundits.
You're a pundit. Yeah,
you
were a pundit. You were a pundit.
No, I never was.
You were. Who was your favorite? It was Hannity, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
It was Hannity. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was Hannity, yep.
But,
oh, no, it was your boy, though.
I don't do none of that.
It was your boy. It was your other boy. Yeah. Your boy that got fired. What was his name? The old guy. The old guy. What was the old guy that got fired over there? That was your boy, man. Your boy.
Made me lose my train of thought now.
The pervert. You know what I'm talking about? Your boy. The old guy. He still got a podcast now. He got a show.
Dan, what was I talking about?
Yeah, you talking about your Fox pundit. Yeah.
You didn't get me thrown all off. Manhood, you know what I'm saying? We have a responsibility to hold people accountable when it comes to those things, and everybody may not agree with that, but you know, even from a spiritual standpoint, thank you God for giving it back when we were so rudely interrupted by a heathen. It is all right. Thank you for giving it back. But you know, the Bible says a man that don't take care of his family is worse than an infidel. You know what I'm saying? A man that don't take care of his family, you know what I mean? That you know, you can't say you rock with God and you don't care for your family.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? You can't. You know what I mean? And for me, caring for your family is more than writing a check. Caring for your family is actually being a father and being there. You know what I mean? Yeah. I ain't saying that you got to be with the mama in no way, shape, form, or fashion. Yep. Sometimes life be lifing. Yep. And sometimes we make bad choices at different places in our life, and we got to live with that.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? But by no means does that cause you to be free from your responsibilities and your duties as a father. And, you know, sometimes I get a little annoyed sometimes when dudes be like, man, but she this and she that and she this. Well, guess what, man? What that got to do with you being a father? You know, I hear cats all the time telling them, man, hey, she want me to pay all this child support, this and other. Me personally, I feel like I could never give my child enough. You know what I mean? I don't look at it that way. You know, when I was young and didn't have nothing, man, I remember me and my wife, we were girlfriend and boyfriend at that time, man, and we were teenagers when we got our oldest daughter. And I remember us going to social service down in Petersburg and trying to get some assistance. You know what I'm saying? So the lady, the social worker, was like, hey, look, she talking to my wife, then girlfriend, like I ain't in there. Like, well, you know, you're going to have to take out child support on him in order to do this. And then, you know, my thought was, you ain't got to take no child support out on me. And she was like, yeah, babe, I hear you, but you need to take out child support on him to make sure, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And I was like, look,
Yeah.
You ain't got to force me to take care of my child.
Right.
You got to put me in no system.
Exactly.
And, you know, one of the statements I made to her then, I was like, what if I decide I want to be president one day? Then they like, I was in the child support system. You know what I mean? Like, you had to force me to do it. Yeah. You know, you got to force me to do it. You get more from, you know. But the crazy part about it is, as young as I was at the time, my wife says that she knew that's how she knew that I was the one. Because she said, you know, she had never talked to no dude that was like, what if I'm president? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, she was used to the regular hood cats and, you know what I mean, whatever. She's like, this cat talking about he might be president or something like.
What if you were president?
I still could be. Trust me, Trump has made a lot of things possible. One thing for sure, the academic bar is not high. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Agreed. Hey, if he can do it, I can definitely do it. You know what I mean? I thought I could do it anyway, but now I know I could do it.
I agree.
I could be president easy. Wow. Easy. I found that you ain't got to know much.
Well, on that note, and not knowing much about our president, we can go ahead and end this discussion. We can end this conversation. It was great. It was a great discussion. It was a great conversation, but it's one I only wanted to discuss, not him. So with that being said, you opened up the floor. I'm going to go ahead and close it. Permission to close the floor, sir?
Close the floor.
All right. We appreciate y'all, man. We thank y'all for tuning in to the...
When you was on the campaign trail with Trump, tell us how that was.
We thank y'all for joining us.
Hold on. But when everybody was clowning you for being a DJ at the inauguration, when they were saying you shouldn't have went to the White House and took that invite, let's talk about it.
Okay.
How did you deal with that?
Yeah. When I saw you.
You and Nelly.
I mean, who? Nelly? No.
It's getting hot in here.
But I seen you at the
I ain't had no invite to the inauguration. I saw you at the
insurrection. You was at the insurrection. You was at the insurrection, though.
There's a picture of you.
It's a difference between an inauguration and an insurrection.
Yeah, he trying to
You went out there on January 6th, 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Was it 2 years?
I definitely was not out there.
Yes, you were. You were.
First of
all, you know
all,
why? You was out there.
First of all, I'm a black man.
No, because
ain't no way I'm running up in no government building.
You work with Sean Hannity, bro.
I tell you that.
You work with Hannity.
Running up in no government building.
You work with your boy.
You showed me a picture of a black person at the insurrection.
Yeah, you work with Hannity. You was
I
in the
ain't
Fox.
seen one yet.
You was in the Fox truck. You was wrapping up the wires and stuff. You know.
Shoot.
Let me wrap up the wires. Let me get on out of here. Yeah. Let me get on out of here. Yeah. What's the guy name? What's the guy name, man? You know what the guy name? What's the guy name? That's your boy.
He's played the diversion role. It's cool.
Wow,
we ain't got to talk about, you know what I mean? Because Nelly caught heat, you caught heat. Well, all of y'all that went to the White House for the inauguration.
I want to.
And I did see the picture with you, with Musk and the little boy on his shoulder. And Trump. Yeah.
I want to declare this too much. If you the wrong color to be there, then I'm definitely the wrong color to be there because you're dark. No, but Nelly's lighter than me. You're about Nelly's complexion, so that's how you ease through. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, look at me. Ain't no way I could have made it.
This so anyway, but like you buy mass watches,
and mass apparel,
all black,
and mass apparel, and mass apparel.
Mass apparel.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Get your jewelry and clothing needs met.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And one day maybe we'll get Foot to talk to us about the inner workings of the industry and all of that other stuff. He always plays like he doesn't know, but you know, in our private conversations, I know he knows. But look, y'all ain't got to send nobody after him because you know he ain't telling none of the confidential information.
Okay, we'll see y'all next time. All right.
I don't know nothing about the eagle in the corner.
The corner of what?
Of the building.
Take us home, man. Take us home.
I don't know nothing about that. I mean, the one that...
oh, man. Cut him off. Cut his mic off.
The one that Tom Cruise tripped over. I don't know nothing about that. All right.